There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. We've got a great show for you today. I always say that, but I really mean it. We do. And Brachelle's here. Hey, Brachelle, how you doing, kiddo?
I'm doing good. I am lit on fire with the episode that we're about to have because it's just very uplifting and inspiring for multiple generations to have us all doing this together. And a lot of times we talk to a lot of older people that have amazing insight, and sometimes there's young people like me that are doing amazing things and trying to bring the world up at the same time. So today we have the ones and only Kat and Mads that are here. They talk about the neuroscience of womanhood. And I can't even tell you where my mind begins to think when I think of that, but they have also started a podcast, RewiredWomanPodcast.com. So welcome, both of you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Very excited.
We're be here. I'm really nervous, so I'm going to be honest.
That's okay.
I can't imagine why you'd be nervous at all. You're a podcaster of note, for heaven's sakes. You do your own thing. You're doing great, and we love having you. You know, we had the opportunity to talk to you guys it's supposed to be for 15 minutes. It went for like 45. And we just had the great time talking to you. You guys are smart, you're intelligent, and there's a little bit of woo-woo in you too, which I really like to talk about. So it's great to have you here, ladies, and thank you for coming. And I'm going to let Brachelle kind of lead because I don't know if you noticed, but she's a woman and I'm not, so I don't get it. So I'm just typical dude, and dudes don't get it very well, do we, Brachelle?
I think it depends on the dude, and you're one of those dudes who gets it. So we love you for being here. But either one of you that'd like to start, I have to ask, because we talked about this initially, of where the thought came in mind to start speaking about what you were learning and what that journey was like for both of you.
Yeah. Do you want me to take that? So we met in college and we were both studying neuroscience. And like that just gives a little background that both of us were very interested in why people do what they do, you know, how our biology creates certain observations about the world and how we make the choices that we do. And just naturally, as our friendship was progressing over the years, we would go in and out of like really superficial, like normal girl chat. And then it would always go into these really philosophical conversations and then into recent research. And it just kind of came about because every time we talked, we would end up being like, oh my gosh, did you see that study? Like, did you hear about that? And we would both end up in these like really long tangents about scientific research. And eventually just like, I don't know, we should record these conversations. Yeah.
And so you did. And so now you have a podcast.
Yeah. And it's been really cool. Just like we're 3 episodes in, and it really does just feel like our normal conversations with each other that we're now sharing with the whole world. And as I'm sure you guys have noticed or have felt at some points, it can be a little scary to be so vulnerable, but also really freeing. And we've already gotten so much feedback from people being like, thank you so much for bringing these really intense or, you know, really intelligent conversations that like maybe a lot of people aren't comfortable having, but also making it really accessible and fun to listen to. So we've had a really great time. Even though we're only 3 episodes in, we can't wait to see what goes next.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna do you do an episode a week. What day? I'm gonna use podcast lingo here. What day does your episode drop?
Every Wednesday. So like get you through the week.
Oh, perfect. And
Um,
and you are on Podbean and Apple and Spotify and YouTube and all these things. So that's great. You guys are building a great foundation, which is what's necessary to build a great podcast.
Thank you. We're very excited. I don't even know if I told you guys this when we talked, but I actually went to Podfest in Orlando back in January before we even knew we were going to work together on this. And I learned so much at that experience and had so many people give me great advice. And once I found the perfect co-host, like we got started so fast. Like what we talked about this in June and we launched in the end of August. So it's been really cool to see all those little steps come into fruition.
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you, finding a good co-host is hard. And so now that you've found one, don't let her go, Rochelle.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love too how you guys, me and Kevin have the same thing. We have a relationship and a friendship outside of the work that we do. And that's how when we come in to when speaking to everybody across the world, we are able to be in sync. And before we came on, if you guys would say the same thing at the same time in the same tone, do you catch yourselves doing that a lot in conversations where it's almost like, okay, one of us has to just stop talking so the other person can get this out for a minute because there's just that momentum buildup.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we've gotten better at it. Like the first couple episodes, you'll like hear us kind of talk over one another. But I think we're good at it. And I think what's interesting about our dynamic is like we're so similar, but we're also opposites. We have like overlap, but we can also challenge each other. And you'll hear that sometimes in the podcast. And like my husband thinks that's like his favorite part. He's like, it's so much more interesting when you guys are like challenging each other and like coming to an agreement that you guys both agree.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think that's
pretty
something
cool.
that's really cool about our friendship, just even beyond the podcast. I think that both of us have felt really comfortable to have those like really deep conversations or be like, hey, I didn't like when you did that. And we've been able to grow through those moments. Not that there's been a lot, but we, like any relationship, there's some moments of tension. And I think to bring that into the podcast space, like into a discussion around neuroscience and research and spirituality and a lot of speculation, it's really cool to be like, I think this. And then like, Kat to push back on me and be like, no, I don't think so. So I think that's what people have generally told us is their favorite part so far of our dynamic.
yeah, it's like the opposite.
Sure.
The same like value. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I love the concept of science with a little woo-woo mixed in, which I don't even consider a woo. I want to ask you guys this, and which is because of the energetic beings that we all are, that some of us are in tune a little bit more with our psychic side, and some of us just haven't got there yet, but we all have the gift. Do you guys agree with that?
I definitely do.
Me too.
Because it's I got to tell you, Kat, it's fun to watch her work, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and Kat is also like very into her woo-woo and spiritual side. Hasn't as much monetized it and made it into her career, but definitely one of my favorite people to do tarot with and talk about spiritual and mystical ideas with.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. Rochelle, go ahead.
Yeah, so you guys have built up this friendship, and you don't agree on things, and you're very different from each other, but also so alike in a way of understanding and in a way of womanhood. What kind of made you guys want to go down that trail that says, hey, if we can do this with each other, maybe we can be helping other young women out there who are struggling in their relationships and can't come to terms with having these conversations without still loving each other at the end? Is that kind of where what your thought process was, or was it different?
I think it came from this idea of like community and feeling like we're the type of people that have these deep conversations, and we almost have them in all of our relationships, but we don't have them like in like we both do better like one-on-one, and I think it was just like searching for community and realizing that we could create that, I guess.
Yeah, like it's something we wanted that didn't exist yet, so we're like, we're just gonna bring it out into the world.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, me and my best friend, you remind me so much of me and her. She tells me all the time, we need to do a podcast. I'm like, girl, we would be canceled so fast. So how do you guys kind of try to keep each other on the same track of, like, is there any podcast you've done where you're like, we're just going to have to redo that whole entire thing and go a different direction with it?
So we thought about it, but I think we pushed ourselves. So like our first 2 episodes are on suicide, which is like a really heavy topic to just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I think we were at times worried about being canceled, but also were really just kind of fearless about it. She encouraged me to be fearless. And I think we kind of share this like perfectionism. So we really just kind of decided to jump together. It was easier to jump together than alone.
Yeah, and I think even deciding to like launch our podcast with something as serious and as stigmatized as suicide, I think it almost like forced us to just like hold hands and jump off the cliff and be like, people are gonna take this well or not. And it's obviously a very nuanced conversation, but yeah, I think it's fair to say we both had moments of fear that people would be like, that's inappropriate or that's not okay, and we both just had to be like, we're in it together, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's important to have somebody like that on your team, for sure.
Well, and I will tell you that, well, you know this, being women, all 3 of you, that contemplation of suicide is a big deal for adolescent girls and girls going through their teenage years, and social media and bullying at school and all of that stuff. So to talk about it openly and frankly and positively is a big deal. Congratulations on doing that, because if you haven't done it yet, you're going to be helping somebody, and they may turn away from those thoughts based upon your podcast. Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was actually something we touched on from the research, is that, there's like a lot of stigma in society and a lot of fear, even that, like a myth that people think talking about suicide, especially if you're worried about someone, that's going to make it worse or encourage them in some way. But overwhelmingly, all of the research shows that talking to someone about suicide actually greatly reduces the chance that they act on it. And so that's a really big part of what we touch on in the first 2 episodes of Rewired Woman Podcast.
Yeah.
And congratulations. And by the way, I don't know if we've talked about this at all, but I know you do tarot and you do things. I have got a deck of cards, and let me tell you the story behind this. I went to a psychic fair, which I want to do from time to time, because I was looking for people to have on the show and different stuff, because I believe in it and know it. Well, it was at the end of the day, and the lady that had the tarot card decks was putting them away because the fair was technically over. And she had unplugged her credit card machine and was putting that away and stuff. And I said, I would like to have a deck of cards. And she said, well, look in that box and see if there's something there that you would like. And in the top of the box was this deck of cards, and it is by a gentleman by the name of Kyle Gray. I don't know if you know him. And the deck looks like this, and they are oracle cards, and it's called the Keepers of the Light. And Rochelle will tell you that these cards and me are now like family, because they are really spot on. And I've never done this on any show that I've ever done, and I'm going to do this for you guys because you get it and stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I want you guys to think about what you want the podcast to be and where you want it to go. And Rochelle, give me your energy as well, young lady. And I'm going to pull 3 cards, and then we're going to talk about them, and we'll see where they go. Can we do that? But first, I need to take this break. And when we come back, we're gonna do that, and everybody will be absolutely amazed by what we do here. So we'll it sounds like a carnival barker here, and so we'll be right back. I've never done this before. This is scary. Rochelle, should I not do this?
No, do it, Kevin.
Okay.
Don't never not be afraid, but never be afraid.
Never.
Yes,
could you write that down? I didn't get that. Yeah.
Just do it.
Just like Nike. Okay, we'll be right back, and then we're going to pull the cards for Kat and Mads about their podcast, which is Rewired Woman Podcast. And we'll be right back. Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to BrushwoodMediaNetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Michelle's right there, and Kat and Mads have disappeared. I'm not sure where they went. They're incognitos suddenly. But I have. Yes, we have to see their faces before I do this. So we'll hopefully they'll get their camera back. And hopefully we can get that working. In the meantime, Samuel sends his greetings. So, Rochelle, would you like to read that?
Yes, greetings, brother Kevin and sister Rochelle. Say hello to Kat and Mads watching and listening live from Kiberia slums in Nairobi, Kenya, the largest slums in Africa. This is our favorite show. We are keenly following together with our team and friends. Great program. And hello, everybody. We absolutely love you guys so much. And thank you for being here day in and day out. We appreciate you so much.
And one of these days, Samuel, if this goes well, if this experiment of mine goes well, I will do the same for you, and the mission that you're on to help all the kids, feed all the kids in Kenya, and to get them to go to school so that they can learn and become like you, and to do something outstanding. So, ladies, are you there?
I'm like, please come back, because Kevin, those cards are not just. There's a relationship you guys have, as you were saying, that is untouchable. It's like something speaks to you, and then through them. Even when we did it yesterday, you can't make it up. So we have to share this.
and we do. And she's back. We see you now.
Back.
And
can we hear you? I don't think we can hear you.
And they're off. And Rochelle, while we've got a moment, can we talk about Greatest Vibes Unplugged?
Yeah, let's do it.
And I guess not. They're back. So there. Hey, look at that! They're back. Okay. All right. Can we hear you both?
We had some technical difficulties. We don't know what happened.
It's okay. You look and sound great. So
awesome. Good.
that comes under the heading of, poop happens. I can't say the real word, but I can say that word. So
Luckily, we are all about whatever happens is meant to be, and you had to download some extra energy. I just know it.
Yes.
Exactly. So here goes. Now, what I'm going to do, I've got an entire deck, and I've shuffled the deck, and I'm going to pull 3 cards from the top. And because we've already shuffled them and they're all ready to go, and this is all for you guys. And so there are 3 cards, and the first one is we're just going to do them and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
However he does this, it seriously works. So just roll with it.
Yeah.
For sure. We pull tarot cards for our podcast like every day.
Oh, very good. So this is Saint Germain, karma releasing, move beyond the drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. That's what you guys are doing with your podcast every day.
Oh.
See, Rochelle, this is working, Rochelle. and the next card is, I knew we've never got this card either, Rochelle. Lord Shiva, transcendence, rise up. Oh, rise up and honor your inner voice. Steps are being given. Dance with the universe.
Oh, that one's really cool. That's really beautiful.
I tell you, the cards are just gorgeous. But both of these cards so far have talked about dancing and communication and the universe and karma, and things are working on your behalf. And so the third one is White Eagle, your ancestor spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. And this is...
Yeah. That goes along the lines of our conversation literally last night. Until like 1 a.m. we were up talking about family wounds like all night. It was really weird.
I told you these are things you cannot make up. It's because sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, oh, I already have heard all the things, and I know I just got to listen. But then he'll pull that card that it's like, how was it ever even in there that whole time? And I'm like, you have no idea how simple that is and how powerful it is. Because when I saw you guys look at each other, it was like, it's confirmation of knowing what you don't know. And that's what me and Kevin say. It's not something even really you believe. It's just something you know. Do you guys have that happen all the time where it's just like, I can't explain it, but we know this is right and we're going to do it?
Yeah. And even actually our third episode was on the neuroscience of intuition. And we got a lot into this topic, especially towards the end of the episode, where we were talking about, the limitations of viewing intuition through just a scientific viewpoint, and like talked a lot about like the spiritual, mystical component of intuition, and even that idea of tapping into your ancestral knowledge and knowing what to do beyond just what you could possibly know how to do. And so I think that's also part of why we're both like, whoa, that's really cool that came up.
It just did, and we had no. And by the way, we had no. Now Rochelle disappeared.
We're playing hide and seek or something.
Yeah, I know. Now I want you to tell our audience that we did not plan that ahead of time, and that you had no idea that any of that was coming.
Oh no,
we didn't know you were going to do oracle cards
or a disappearing act.
Yeah. Yeah, and she does that from time to time just for fun. So, but I love what you guys are doing. And by the way, did you tell people that you were going to be on this show?
Yes.
Well, and by the way, if you are tuning in and listening tuning in. That's an old term. Sorry. But if you are hanging around with us, give us, you can go into the chat and you can talk to Kat and Mads, and we can give them questions and stuff like that. So there are a bunch of people listening in right now. So please, folks, please do that so that they know, that they know that you're here to support them. And the president's calling. I'm sorry, and I just let it go to voicemail. So, but and so, whose idea was it to start the podcast in the very beginning?
Yeah, it was my idea. It's something I've actually been thinking about doing a podcast since about 2021.
Right.
And it was kind of percolating in the back of my head for years. And I had a rough idea that I wanted it to be something that helped women. It was like an engaging conversation, but I wasn't sure on the exact like topic or intersection. And then I went to Podfest in January, and it's like just talking to different podcasters about like what, identifying what doesn't exist yet and like what it could be needed or used in the world. It made me realize that my biggest passion is like neuroscience and spirituality and the intersections of those things, how we can make our life better. And that neuroscience is such a trendy thing right now, but it is primarily men and like academics that are the only people really talking about neuroscience in a scientifically accurate way, at least. And so I realized, like this is a really cool gap that needs to be filled, is talking about science and the intersection of science and spirituality. So then my next thought was just, okay, who am I going to do this with? Because it was really important to me to have those differing viewpoints. And when I came to be in a Kat's wedding in June, we hadn't seen each other in a while. We ended up talking till like 6 a.m. And it just like I looked her in the eyes and was like, this is going to sound really crazy, but I think we need to record our conversations and share them with the world. And she pretty much said yes right away.
Yeah. No hesitation. It just like, it's like I didn't know, but I was like waiting for that like opportunity, I guess.
So congratulations, first of all, on your wedding and getting married.
So you should show them.
I assume, holy crap, that's a big thing there you got. And
her husband did good.
and I assume that when you said, yeah, Mad wants me to be on a podcast, and he said, oh, I'm all for that, or did he say, are you gonna really put yourself out there to the world?
No, he's our biggest supporter. He doesn't like anybody else's posts on Instagram, but he's the first one to like all of ours. His grandfather listens to us.
Yeah.
He actually has created, like, we probably have half a male following right now, and it's probably mostly because of him and like his friends, and he's just like, he's our hugest supporter.
He really is. Every time I log into our social media, it's like his name, liked everything and shared things.
Well, good for him. Good for him. And that's very important, that the people you have around you support what you're doing. Because if they don't, when I was doing my radio show in 2003, I had people in my life that were like, you had a great job. Why are you doing that for? And
I've put my family through the ringer on that so many times with all my ideas.
so now they're saying, oh yeah, it's just her doing it again. And
you know what though, Kevin, I'm pretty sure my mom is listening right now, so she's going to laugh at this. But, I went to school for neuroscience. I was so adamant about it, did all this research. And then I got out of school and was like, I don't think I want to be in academics or medical school. And I ended up in marketing consulting. Totally out the window. And so it's really cool to come back like full circle, whatever, 7 years later, and be like, I'm really putting this passion I have into a way that's like more creative and accessible than like just being like, like it's amazing to be a researcher or a professor, but I just realized that wasn't going to work with my lifestyle. So it's cool to be able to go into the research and talk about these things and using my love of communication and talking to share those messages.
No, you like to talk? Oh, geez. Well, and the really cool thing is that in this time when we're starting to understand that consciousness is a thing, energy is a thing, and to marry the two is really complementary to each other, and to help people, and like Rochelle, who's a little psychic herself, so she apparently her energy disconnected her somehow, but so a lot of people don't understand how the two things can be connected and how they can work together. So for you to do that is really, really cool.
Well, I think both of us have, not to talk for you, but I feel like both of us have such that pull to these two things that a lot of people might see as opposing. And we kind of instinctually feel the connectedness of them. Like for me, I studied neuroscience and philosophy in college. And
I studied neuroscience and studio art. I was a double major. And so I've always kind of married, I'm a big contradiction. So I've always kind of married my two opposites and deal with a lot of ambivalence, two opposite thoughts or things that people think are on opposite sides of the spectrum. And I feel like it creates a lot of balance. I love the gray area. I'm not a black and white thinker, really.
Yeah.
Well, and there are a lot of, I don't know if you know this, I'm sure you do, a lot of neuroscientists that are very strict in their thinking, but you are a neuroscientist and an artist, and you're a neuroscientist and a psychic. That's a really cool combination, by the way.
Yeah. Well, sorry to cut you off, but I think I don't remember if we talked about this or not in the pre-meeting, but really what made me first interested in neuroscience back when I was 14 or so, it gave me a way to talk about my psychic abilities, right? Because I was always very good at just knowing things about people and pattern recognition, however you want to describe that. And people were like, oh, that's weird, right? But then once I realized oh, there's this whole field that people think is really cool and means you're really intelligent instead of weird. And it explains why you know so much about why people do what they do. And so for me, it started as a way to suppress my more spiritual and psychic side. And now it's really cool to bring those both into the open together.
Exactly. And we need to take our halftime break. And we're talking to the two people from the Rewired Woman Podcast. And it's Kat and Mads, and Rochelle is she'll be back. I'm confident that she'll be back. But we need to take our halftime break. And when we come back, I want to fill you in on my background a little bit, because I have witnessed and been part of literally hundreds of psychic readings and mediumship, along with people like John Edward and others that I've interviewed. So I want to touch on that when we come back, because I think it's all connected. And I'm going to ask your opinion when we come back. We'll be back. It's just 1:10. Stay right where you are.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
The strength of staying kind from your friends at Positive Talk Radio. Kindness is not weakness. It takes real strength to stay kind in a world that often rewards anger, ego, and control. Being kind means choosing to act from your values, not your wounds. It means showing grace even when no one's watching. But kindness doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people take advantage of your time, your energy, or your peace. You can be kind and still say no. You have a soft heart with firm boundaries. The strongest people I know are the ones who choose compassion without losing themselves. They've been hurt. They've been tested. And still, they choose to love and lead and to lift others anyway. Kindness is not about pleasing everybody. It's about honoring who you are and how you treat others, even when it's hard. So stay kind, stay human, and stay strong. And always remember this: be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. And Welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and Rochelle is off in the ether someplace, and she'll be back. And we've got Kat and Mads here, and they are the Rewired Woman Podcast. And by the way, Samuel, he would like you to share your social media so that they can follow you. Do you have that on the top of your head?
Yes. So Instagram is at RewiredWomanPod.
Okay.
I think Kat's going to put it in the chat so you can see it. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I don't know if people can go into the chat, but it is at Rewired Woman Pod.
Where he's got a pen and paper in hand. So
Perfect.
And
on YouTube, we're Rewired Woman Podcast.
Rewired Woman Podcast. Awesome. And Lori, I love you. Lauren, I love you guys. And she said that you have the best podcast. I think she means podcast or the best pods in the world. I don't know what that meant. Anyway, that could be slang for something else. Anyway, but it's great to have you guys here because, you know, the interesting thing is guess who's back? She's back. She's back. I think she's back. There she is.
I'm back. It's playing games on us. I'm convinced.
Well, sometimes energy does that and stuff. But like I Rochelle, I was telling them that I've been doing this a while. I've done, over 2,500 interviews, and a lot of them have been with energy workers and healers and psychic mediums and that kind of stuff. I got stories. I got more stories than I can shake a stick at. I know, but my point here is I know it's real. It is absolutely a fact, and it's just energy. And it's just that you are more sensitive because of you've trained the muscle that it takes to be more sensitive. Would that be, would you, or did you come by this absolutely naturally?
You want to start?
I do train the muscle. I'm still training the muscle because I think in my childhood, I almost was trained not to use it, right? Like I think kids are the closest to it spiritually because they just kind of like left from a spiritual being, like thrown into a human experience. So they're like, I think to me, I was the closest to it when I was younger. And then it was kind of like trained out of me or nurtured out of me. And so now I'm getting in touch with it. But we, on the intuition episode, talked about if you have families that foster that at a young age, that muscle stays strong and is strong in adulthood. And in adulthood, you can just exercise it and get it back.
Very true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel very similar. Like I do think I naturally had like very strong, I guess what you could call psychic abilities as a child, and was like very in tune with a lot of knowingness I couldn't explain as a small child. And I definitely suppressed those things because like I scared other people a lot, and people would get really mad at me because they would be like, how do you know that? Like that, like what? Yeah. And they would get like really angry. So it made me be really scared, even though my family was actually very supportive. I have a very like intuitive family line in general. So they were really supportive, but like I kind of shut it down myself and just come back to it in adulthood.
Rochelle, I know you have a question to ask about that all stuff.
Yeah, I know you guys have been having so much fun, and touching into intuition, especially I feel like as a female, is maybe a little easier and more powerful right out the gates because of how much emotion we already naturally feel. And I have a question too, because I've heard a lot of people that will say, well, I'm not necessarily an empath, but I'm fully in tune with these things. And I kind of fight against that to say, well, you wouldn't be if you weren't able to feel the empathetic version of whatever that energy is. Are you guys also, would you say that that's pretty valid from like a point of psychology even?
I have an initial thought, but okay, so where I go with that, especially more in my science brain, is like, I think that you can have different types of intuition, and you actually brought up really cool research around intuition, like in biological females, which was pretty cool. But my first thoughts to your question is like, I feel like a lot of times people think empaths is like being good at reading other people, like other people's intuitions and feelings. And I can see an argument in that you might not be good at reading people around you, but you're still really in tune with like the spiritual realms. Yeah. That's kind of what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there are different forms of intelligence. Intuition is closely related to intelligence. So you can have different types. Like when we were shooting our episode and talking about what we thought our personal experiences of using our intuition were. Like, I didn't think that Maddie, like, it didn't recognize to me that the type that Maddie was describing was even intuition, because her intelligence or like knowledge lies in a different area than mine might. And so I think intuition, like, there's different forms of it. So maybe they don't feel like they're emotionally intuitive, but they're like energetically intuitive, and they see a big difference in that. Just like some people see more colors than others, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was a really good explanation, actually.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful.
And I have to ask you, because I know that we have people that have crossed over to the other side who that love us, are involved in our life on a daily basis, and they check in with us. And is that part of your belief structure? And are you also a medium?
Oh, some big questions over here. I definitely believe in that the energies carry on like past our human bodies, and that we can be in touch with them. I definitely feel connections with people that have passed. I don't know that I would call myself a medium, though. But I also think, to our points earlier, I think it's just something I haven't worked at. I don't know that it's a skill set I don't possess. I just have never really tried.
Have you ever said, "I want to talk to you, come see me"?
Oh, definitely.
And do they ever come see you? Or not in a physical sense, but they communicate with you?
Yeah. So I guess that could be. I guess when you say medium, I'm thinking more like to be able to like channel or communicate for other people. And
not necessarily, but yeah. Well, as an example, let me tell you a story real quick. When I was doing the show in 2003, I don't think I've told Michelle this. Maybe I have. My co-host was a psychic medium, and my sister-in-law had passed away 3 days before we started the show, and we were going to have a memorial service. And I asked my friend on the air, did she? Oh, there she is. On the air is. Has Sandy, my sister-in-law, does she have anything to say? And so I'd love for you guys as neuroscientists to explain this.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, she just recently passed, right? And I said, yes. And she said, well, they're so busy on the other side, they don't have a lot of time to talk. But she said something about yellow roses. And to make a long story short, we go to the memorial service the next day, and I go into the chapel, and there are two expensive flower arrangements. One is carnations and roses and all kinds of plants and yellow roses. But the one that caught my eye was a great big heart, and it was a placard, and it was probably a $300, $400 arrangement. And it was a heart of white carnations. And in the middle of it was a smaller heart of yellow roses. We tried to find yellow roses. We couldn't find any. They had to be ordered special. So these people knew, and she knew, and my friend Kim had never met her, had no idea who she was. And so what we got out of it, because I asked Kim later, and she said all she was doing was verifying the fact that she's going to be at the service, and she's there to support her husband and everybody that's there and her family. And so that was verification for me that was real, because Kim had no idea. I had no idea. My wife had no idea. And her husband didn't even know that she liked yellow roses. So explain that, Miss Neuroscientist.
I mean, I don't think anyone has that information yet.
I don't think so, but I Yeah, I think that's a little bit beyond the scope of what we can measure, but I do believe in things like that. But I personally haven't had a lot of interaction with the dead, and I have several people on the other side, and that's almost like a sore spot. Like, I don't really know why. I've gone to mediums, and I've never felt. I've gone to Reiki masters as well that are like, there's this 11-year-old boy kind of like present. Like, if I could draw him. He's so vivid, and he visits you all the time. And I'm like, I have no idea who that could be, unless, like, anyways, I do, but they're not 11, especially not when they died. So it's, I don't know how to explain it in neuroscience, I guess.
I mean,
Do
I
you
think
have anything?
More from maybe
I think
even
that
just like an energetic level.
plagues everyone.
On an energetic level, I would say, so the only thing that comes to mind is like, so Western psychology uses the DSM-5, right, to diagnose people. And essentially all those diagnoses look at symptoms that we consider out of the normal. And so, like, schizophrenia, I know my grandmother had schizophrenia, and there are other people who have schizophrenia, and there's people who come from other cultures that essentially say, we don't want medication to get rid of this, because in other cultures, it's not, even though it's not, it doesn't happen to everybody, they're like, this is something spiritual, right? Instead of seeing these experiences as something negative, they see them as like an aspect of spirituality. So there are more, you could say there are parts of their brain that are like acting more activated than the average person, like the temporal lobe, and different things that could allow them to be seeing patterns that other people don't see. And so like yellow roses, maybe. And
I think even a lot of the newer research, and again, a little out of our scope of knowledge, like to be thrust into, but there is a lot of newer research showing like telepathic abilities between people that like know each other but also don't know each other, and in far distances. So I think there's an argument possibly to be made that you could theoretically tap into knowledge from like non-human beings as well. And again, that's getting way more in a speculative, non-neuroscience side, but I think it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. And when we come back from the break, that's exactly what I was going to ask about. Is I know there's been a moment between you two where you thought of each other, or you had a thought that you needed to tell each other something, and then you get a call or you get a text and it's like, hey, I'm picking this up at the store, or just anything where we're literally in tune and in touch with each other. And for me, that is extremely powerful. Sometimes it freaks me out because it can kind of see something coming, but I don't know exactly what it is to pinpoint it. So after this break, I'd like to hear what you guys have learned about that and some experiences you've had.
Awesome.
And I want to ask you if you guys know what a transducer is. And we will be right back after this. This is a little points to ponder that we create specifically for something for everyone to think about. We'll be right back in 1 minute. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. After the longest night, the sun rose again. It painted the sky with colors no one had seen before. That's how life works. Darkness never lasts forever. No matter how long the night feels, your sunrise will come. Hold on. Light always finds its way back. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope live. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A woman spent years hating the reflection in her mirror. One day, she whispered, "I am enough." Day by day, her reflection became her friend. Self-love begins with the words you tell yourself. Speak gently, because you are listening. This is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. And welcome back. And that last one I just did, if every woman on the planet could just say and believe I am enough, we would have a lot happier place. I could tell you that.
You are enough, Kevin.
Some people think I'm too much, actually, you know.
No, we regularly practice like not be like that. There's no too much.
Oh, very
That's a good one.
So, Michelle, ask you had a question to ask, darling.
Yes. Well, first I have to ask you if you guys will come back, because now my brain is going a different direction. We lost out on time, and I want to learn about how you guys have been able to teach each other and yourselves really how to love yourself and other people. I can tell that that's a skill that needs to be talked about a little bit more, especially for our generation. But promise to come back, please.
Definitely.
Okay.
You've
good.
got us
Okay.
thinking too. Like,
Yeah, and we're like already over here plotting what we need to look up.
Yes. Yeah, I could talk to you guys for way too long. But no, getting into the energy and the vibration of intuition. What was it that you called it, Maddie? When you feel somebody or you hear something that is like I don't know, you said the word, but it's like you can literally hear or feel someone else, no matter how far apart you are, or what's going on. It can be the most random thing. Why does that happen?
So I think this is linked to Kevin's question because we didn't know what a transducer was, and then we Googled it during the when we Googled it. So what a transducer is, aka via Google, is something that essentially translates energy, from my understanding, but essentially your brain acts like a transducer because your brain is full of electrical signals, and they're also chemical, but mainly like electrical, and they perceive vibration like sound and energy. And so like your brain is like your transducer for all of the energy in the world, right? Like
so other people's thoughts are like kind of being transduced into your brain and interpretation. I think that's kind of speculative, but that's kind of the maybe.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, let me explain where I got that from. My diesel mechanic son, because I've told him about mediumship and about psychic abilities for a long time, and he finally heard this, and he said, "Dad, it's just a transducer. What a transducer does is it translates like sounds and vibrations into energy. That's how your car radio works without you having to have wires attached to the radio station. It's the energy from the transducer, it translates it into energy, and then the other side translates it back into sounds and vibrations. And that's a real simple explanation, but that's what he told me. And he said, now I get it. That makes perfect sense now. And so we all have a transducer in our brain. Some are more evolved or more practiced than others.
Have you ever heard that like ringing in your ears?
Yeah.
This has got me feeling like I'm like receiving energy, because I always think of it as like receiving a message. And now I'm literally transducing. Like I'm here.
I love that.
I'm like all these things.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy too, because it depending on which ear you get the ringing, it's a different sense. It's like both sides of you. Through your guys' relationship, has there been shifts where you're like, our energy is just completely different? Like we are not the same in an energy state anymore because our mind, our transducer is growing type of thing?
Yes. So I remember vividly a conversation. So we were friends in college, and we were not spiritual. Neither of us were spiritual at all, heavily scientific. And we didn't talk a lot for years. And we like ended up on the same healing journey. And I had this conversation. I was like really low in my life, but she had kind of already started her healing journey. And I remember over that phone call, I could feel her in transition and me at like rebirth. Do you know what phone call I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's going to make me cry actually.
But it was like that moment where it was like, wow, we're really like on the precipice of starting something, even though we haven't talked in years.
And that was years ago at this point.
And then we didn't talk again. And then we got together, and she had like she'd gotten all into her like mindset coaching, and I sent her a yoga book when she opened up her like studio and business for the first time. And it was like, we both came to the same thing, but had not talked about it. We're like worlds apart almost for like years at a time.
Yeah.
But you were already connected at the same time.
Yeah, but we weren't like, because both of us tend to be people that are really, like, we're really good in person, but don't really text people. Yep. And so we've lived states apart most of our time. So we didn't really talk, like you were saying, for years and years.
And by the way, great conversation. Thanks, Kevin and Rochelle. We are, for interviewing them today, we will watch again this conversation with 350 children on Sunday while they have lunch or breakfast, whichever it is. So congratulations. Amazing women doing amazing. I don't know. Men are smarter anyway. I don't know.
You wish you were right, Kevin. And Lauren, I agree.
And the thing about men, you feed us, you cuddle with us, and we're just happy if we can watch a football game on Sunday. And that's all we get. That's all we need. So you guys are a lot more evolved emotionally than men are in many cases.
Scientifically, we're more intuitive as well, because the part of your brain that that is like responsible for intuition has like estrogen modulation. So our estrogen makes us more intuitive.
Yeah. And if you want to hear more about that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I
was just going to say, if someone wants to hear more about that, we dig a lot into it in episode 3 of our podcast.
Very good. Very good.
So if you are more psychic and you're a man, does that mean that you have more estrogen, so you might have a little bit of man boobs? Is it going on? Is that what you're saying?
No, not necessarily.
No,
but it's a good point that you brought up, Kevin, through that learning too, because it doesn't mean that we can't. I hear so many women fight against this, and even in their relationships with each other, it's, don't teach somebody how to love you. Don't teach them how to be in a relationship with you. Don't do this and don't do that. If it's not right, walk away. We're so easy to walk away. We don't fight for each other. We don't fight for things. And it's like, why? You don't know this person. You don't know why they're doing the things they're doing. And what if they're not even aware of it, and you can help them and teach them and build that relationship even stronger by being that person that can just step out of yourself and speak up a little bit. Would you both agree with that, especially when it comes to teaching men how to maybe love when they don't know?
Yeah, and I think people will surprise you when you come from it with a place of compassion and understanding that like they're just doing the best with what they have, and a lot of their beliefs or ways of thinking were taught to them or are generational, just like ours are. And that people will surprise you, and all people just like want to be loved, and they're just trying to communicate and connect the best they can as well. And I don't think there's a lot that they can provide for us, right? I find a lot of strength in opposites. And I think that I've learned a lot from being in relationship with my husband, especially that people, just because men don't process or express emotions the way men do, does not mean that they're not emotional. I think it just goes a completely different pipeline, that it's almost like not comparable all the time. So I think that saying that men aren't emotional is like kind of a big simplification, and like
that's like saying a tree is not a plant. In a way.
And even on the outside, like I think watching her relationship with her husband and how they interact with each other and work really hard to understand each other, it's really beautiful. So I kind of get to be a third party observer to that, and like watch them like purposely try to understand each other, which is really cool.
Yeah, we should all be that way.
My psychic emotional side says, dang it, we're out of time again. I'm so sorry that we're out of time. I would love for this to go on for another hour. So you guys are going to have to come back. I am vested in your success. I want your podcast to be a huge success, and I'll do everything I can to make that happen. And so you guys are going to have to come back.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited.
And maybe
someday Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe someday you guys can provide us with a bunch of questions and inspire a whole episode, because you guys have really got us thinking.
We would love that.
We've got you thinking a little bit, do we? Well, that's nice moments in time, don't you know? But ladies, I want to thank you so much for being here. And everybody that's listening an hour later, go to the Rewired Woman Podcast, and it's on YouTube and everywhere else. And thank you guys for being here. Is there anything that you would like to add? Or Brachelle, before you get the last word, Brachelle, to ask them to have the last word.
Yeah. Anything, please, from either of you, just to share with our audience, to leave us through the week with a good message.
Oh, that's beautiful. Do you have something?
Yeah, be kind to each other. I mean, your message is perfectly great. Be kind to each other. You are enough, and go use your intuition. You're more creative than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah,
there it is.
Go take a walk outside, dance a little bit. Life will be so much better.
It's not that serious.
And ladies, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And Brachelle, you were remarkable again. You made it back. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And you guys have a wonderful day. It's Friday, so have a wonderful weekend.
Woo! Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.